one day, I'll never forget, I come home from Tokyo, my first time in Tokyo. I'm like so out of it. And I go over to my friend's house and she's there and I'm like, who is this girl, you know? And like, I just want to know more. And we hung out that day, like just a little bit. And that's when I was like, I gotta see if this girl will go with me to my film. There's gonna be like hundreds of people I know at this thing because it was the big premiere of the film, like on the East Coast. So everyone was there and I was like, well, man, I gotta bring a girl like nobody knows. So they're gonna be like, who is this, you know? Who would have thought that me asking you your sister, if I get your number to ask you to be my date, that it would turn into this and, you know, we're about to get married and like where life has gone just from that night.
It's always the things that set sequences in motion that you never really know. I want to say
it's love at first sight, but, you know, I can't do that.
I mean, hey, man, I'm here for it. I'll celebrate it.
The sentiment is there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yo, what time the plane leaving? All right. See you at the airport. Memories don't live like people do. They always remember you. Whether things are good or bad. It's just the memories. Memories don't live like people do. Baby, don't forget me. I'm a traveling man. Moving through places, space and time. Got a lot of things I
What's good, everybody? What's good? Welcome back to yet another episode of Off the Strength, where we're giving you the inside look into all things wellness culture. I'm a trainer called Tony, and of course, with me, I have some gentlemen of extraordinary league gods. Let's go around the table and introduce ourselves, please.
Your trainer, Corey, a.k.a. your favorite trainer's favorite trainer.
K.R. Jones is in the building.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all type from near and far. You are now in store for a treat. We have a returning guest, and I need to make sure that we bring the right type of energy and essence because we got to make sure that everybody knows that we're in this mood of celebration. Brother, I'm going to hand this off.
Here we go. So let me tell you about my people, my friends. Yo, first off, listen up. This man right here, jiu-jitsu specialist, wrestling specialist, just all-around gangster fighter. Second time on the show, the first time he blew your mind out.
So my name is Ferraro. I'm 23 years old, and I was born blind. I wasn't treated any differently growing up.
Y'all heard the whole story. Now you get to hear what's going on now. He brought his lovely wife, Kelly, with him. Come through. Let's hear it. Give it up for my man, Anthony.
Here we go. That's what's up. Technically, Kelly was here too before, but you know, Kelly, you also weren't on the mic.
She laid back in the cut, though.
Yeah.
She was just like posted back. You know what I mean?
Yes, it was.
She's my support.
I was just his girlfriend then.
And look at that. Look at how everybody's going through growth.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Word up. Word.
You know,
Thank you.
love to see it. Love to see the romance bud and turn into something that we know is going to have just the greatest passion going forward. And it's going to be some fun and excitement. We're going to let the listeners know what's in store on this trip ahead that y'all got going down. But we got to remind some of these people because we do have a few new listeners out here. Gents, would y'all like to set up Anthony on this question over on here so we can get him inside the right kind of space?
All right, yo, my man, go back to it. Tell us, where were you when you fell in love with this thing we call wellness?
Oh, man. Let's see. First, I'm the youngest of 5, grew up in a small beach town in Spring Lake, New Jersey. And I grew up, my mom's second was 13, so I had 60 cousins growing up that didn't treat me any differently. I was born blind. And they were always athletic. Like, they were skateboarding, surfing, doing all that stuff. So, like, right then I fell in love with, like, being active and getting out there. And I didn't even know I was blind, man. Like, I used to run around. I was riding bikes, keeping up with my cousins, and then I started hitting parked cars, and my mom was like, I think you got to get off the bike, at least get on the back of a tandem or something, you know? And, but, like, I never let it stop me, and then I just kind of, you know, I started going to school from Spring Lake to Philly every day from up until 6th grade, and I started getting a little chubby, man. Like, I used to come home, and it would be like 4 o'clock when I get home, and I just sit, you know, listen to TV, eat some junk food or something. It's already dark out, like, make excuses kind of. And then my 2 older brothers, they were real good athletes. So my older brother, Oliver, he was 5th in the state for wrestling for Christian Brothers Academy in New Jersey. And then my other brother, John, was a state champion soccer player. I never forget it. When I was in 6th grade, like, summer going into 7th grade, my brothers were like, come on, man, like, you're blind, but you're fat too, and like you can control the being heavy. Like you can't control the blindness. You don't want to be blind and fat. And I just remember being like, damn, I guess that's a challenge, right? And like I looked up to my brother so much, so I just started, thinking about what I could do. Like I used to grow up playing soccer and basketball, and then, I realized I can't be doing that stuff realistically, being blind, like. And I always looked up to my brother Ollie, and I said, why not try wrestling? So I did, and I immediately fell in love with the going like full blast in the practice room, like 4 or 5 days a week, going to tournaments every weekend, like that feeling of just putting in work and sweat and losing weight and feeling good and being sore and just recovering, all that stuff. So it's just like right then when I entered that, like after that it was all wellness from then on.
Right on, Anthony, right on. And I definitely know that your brother played a big impact on what you do, the purpose that you bring inside of a lot of the work that you do, from continuing that legacy on and having the aspirations to be inside that Olympic arena and going through all the things that you shared with us the last time that you were here, traveling, coming back and forth. We spoke about it, or you weren't here, but we did speak about some of the injury that happened as we came through. There was a lot to be said about catching up some of our listeners on where you were in that, but we do have some people who were paying attention to that story. And before we jump into all of those details, I also just want to key you up for, can you let some people know that when you're doing that motivational speaking, you got a very important message that I like that always resonates and comes through a little bit. You want to share that a little for me?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, like it always ends when I'm speaking, I tell my story and I say, like, people always ask, what's it like doing this stuff with a disability? Like, what's it like doing this stuff being blind, disabled? And because I'm doing what everyone else is doing, so people think it's crazy. And I'm like, I know people that are sitting at home feeling sorry for themselves with not one thing wrong with them physically, except their brain is just, making up excuses and feeling sorry for themselves. And I know people that are in wheelchairs going out trying to climb mountains and shit. And like that to me it's inspirational. And like if one lesson you learn from it, it's the only disability is a bad attitude. And that's what I try to tell everybody. And that's how I live my life.
The only disability is a bad attitude. That's exactly what I wanted to get back in there. See, you just had to key him up. He's ready back in. He's back in the booth today.
Yo,
Anthony's getting back on. We getting in here.
You can't feel overwhelmed by anything after you talk to this man.
Exactly. Whatever you have for an excuse, go ahead, tuck that right back
Tuck
in.
that excuse right back
Take
in.
it. Go put it back in your back
push
pocket.
right through that easily,
Exactly. Now, Anthony, I want to elevate that and celebrate you for all the physical activities, but this is the Off the Strength show, and like we mentioned earlier, one of the big revelations inside here is this lovely lady that's sitting next to you on the side. This is some lifting that had to happen outside the gym, my friend. There had to be some confidence, some different type of outreach, and I would even say that had to have its own evolution. Could you please take us through? And Kelly, feel free to jump on at any point in time. I want to hear the story.
I have to say though, this is my rock behind everything, and like if it wasn't for her, I would not be able to do as much as I'm doing today. And she's really behind it all. And it was hard, like you said, heavy lifting. So what did I have to do? The first date I had to ask her on was the premiere of my film in the city. So
that's a hell of a first date.
I was like, I gotta surprise her, so I gotta make this girl think I'm like real cool, Like, you want to come to my? I got a premiere in New York City. Will you be my date?
I was saying yes, like being all nice, thinking it's gonna be shot on like an iPhone, and this guy is like, oh sure, I'll go to your premiere of your movie. Like, yeah, no problem. And it's like full feature-length documentary and learned everything about him. And I also met basically everyone important to him in his life that night. And I'm getting
Beautiful.
they're getting like, oh, how do you like this guy? Do you know? I literally just said yes to a date.
That's
You
amazing.
got like my dad, like people grilling her, like, are you gonna be good to this guy? Like, and she's like, yo, I just met him.
Yeah, it kind of shows you're with a good person when that many people care about it.
Yeah, they got to make sure that they preserve his integrity inside there.
So take note, y'all. If you want the woman of your dreams, first off, you got to get a movie made.
Yeah, that's step one.
A full-length feature.
Full-length feature.
You can't be on no iPhone because apparently the iPhone is not enough.
That would have been a
You
deal
already
breaker.
found out the iPhone isn't it. You have
not
to get
it.
a full-length feature done
So
and have your family available.
Exactly.
yeah, so I got a bad attitude and excuse for my first dates coming outside of this interview as well.
Well, Tone gonna show up with a band.
Yeah, I gotta step it up somehow, and I need some pointers, man. You gotta give me some tips as to how I get on this road. Is what I'm really trying to figure out.
Oh man. First off, like my best friend growing up is Skip Petey. He's my best friend growing up, and her sister dates him. Well, now they're engaged as well.
Look at
with
that.
the baby on the way, actually. And I just heard about Kelly, and it was you know, this girl, she's in tech, she loves to travel, this like badass chick, and I'm like, who the hell is this, you know? And one day, I'll never forget, I come home from Tokyo, my first time in Tokyo, I'm like so out of it, you know, when you come like 13 hours, the time difference, and come back and you're like, where am I? And I go over to my friend's house and she's there, and I'm like, who is this girl, you know? And like, I just want to know more, and that's it. We hung out that day, like just a little bit, and that's when I was like, I gotta see if this girl will go with me to my film, because I was like, it started off so stupid. I was like, I want to, because there's gonna be like hundreds of people I know at this thing, because it was the big premiere of the film, like on the East Coast, where everyone that donated or supported could come see it and all that. So everyone was there, and I was like, well, man, I gotta bring a girl like nobody knows. So they're gonna be like, who is this? You know.
But that's the other side of the flex.
And
You
then-
gotta come in
Listen.
with it.
Yeah.
I was talking about it the other day, though. Like, I was like, who would have thought that me asking you your sister for you to be my, like, if I get your number to ask you to be my date, that it would turn into this, and you know, we're about to get married, and like, where life has gone just from that night.
It's always the things that set the sequences in motion that
I
you
want
never
to say
really
it's
know.
love at first sight, but you know, I can't do
I
that.
mean, hey, man, I'm here for it. I'll celebrate it.
The sentiment is there.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Kelly, it's only fair that since you're now a guest officially on the Off the Strength show,
Word.
we have to ask you the same question. Now, Kelly, where were you when you first fell in love with this thing that we call wellness? And I heard travel also is something that you have an affinity for in there. You got to paint a nice picture for us. Can I hear a little bit more about that?
Sure. So, I guess I always played sports in high school and middle school, and I played lacrosse and volleyball. And, you know, in college, I kind of fell off. I just kind of wanted to hang out. I just wanted to relax. I did kind of worked in high school and did sports, so I was always busy. And college, I just kind of wanted to do my studies and get in and get out in 4 years. And so I was a business major, so I did that. I didn't focus on any athletic I didn't really work out or do anything physical those 4 years. And by the end of that 4 years, I had my degree and I felt terrible physically. I moved back to New York and I'm like, okay, I need to do something. I start going on like little jogs, and then somebody tells me, you know, if you just eat right and put good things into your body, you know, you don't have to work so hard. And so I'm just like, that kind of introduced, you know, my family's Maine and Pennsylvania. They like meat and potatoes. They like, you know, like whatever
That
is
good
good.
comfort
like
food right
butter,
there.
pastries, you know. So it's all that stuff is great. Time and a place. I make all that stuff for Anthony now. It's just I also like researching what other things go into our body, what fuels us, what we eat in the morning, and how it's going to put out that energy that we need. And so that's really post-college is really where I started to kind of explore what I eat, not just what kind of physical activities I'm doing. And I maintain most of my lifestyle now with like eating right and doing a little bit of yoga. I like to go swimming. I do all the board sports like snowboarding, and I did a lot of surfing this year now that we're at the beach. So I didn't really stand up at all. I'm more of like the boogie
was
boarder
close.
surfer still. But I'll get there.
You're better than me.
Yeah,
so
you
I'm
way ahead of, you way ahead of us right
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say, I'm not even going to sit here and
Yeah.
act like I don't have that for you, you know?
Well, you know, Anthony makes everything look easy. So
Well, you got a rock star athlete who's literally a rock star at the same point in time
Yeah.
on your side. He gave you a little bit of confidence on that.
oh yeah.
I could totally see that
Yeah,
threshold.
he bought me the surfboard, and he's like, "Come on, we're going. Like, even if you can't stand up, we're going out there." And we paddle out together, and it's just like a great experience. Do it at sunsets too, and sometimes sunrise, and just experiencing nature in a completely different way. When
No,
you're-
it was beautiful. This year we even got to, for my brother's birthday, my brother who moved on, he's not with us anymore, but
Big
he was a big surfer. He was so good, and you know, the ocean was his thing. And
it was so.
it was a
waves were
big
so
day. Like,
big
it was
that
very
day.
big. And she didn't have that much experience with paddling out yet. And she just got on this board, man, and my buddy had the GoPro, and we paddled out and had a whole bag of roses, and it was like the most beautiful thing once we got past the break, and just sitting out in the water, like, it's very therapeutic. You kind of just forget about everything else because you're just trying to survive out there, you know?
Yeah, it has to put you into like a state of flow almost.
Exactly.
Right, where you forget all the worries of the day, and you just kind of end up
You're
moving
rocking,
and being
yeah.
energized by that.
Yeah, and that time of year, it's September 28th. It's cold too, so you get in. It's shocking your system. It's just really kind of breathing. It's really a crazy form of meditation almost. Like
yeah.
even just jumping in the ocean when it's cold or taking cold showers, like that's almost a form of wellness too.
Definitely. Definitely. There's proteins that actually get synthesized from that shock of the system. There's a lot of science that comes into what we already primarily know to do in some way, shape, or form. I want to champion that. And guys, I got to say, this might be the first time we actually had a returning guest and actual couple on the other side of this for the interview. This is a monumentous occasion.
Doing things.
This is an honor.
We checking a lot of boxes on the OTS bingo right now. I just want to
Never
make sure.
done.
Never been done. First to first.
Speaking on the beach, I want to talk to you guys about your celebration for your wedding. I wanted to go. I'm sorry I couldn't make it. I tried everything I could to get out there during the time, but deciding to like get married during the pandemic and while a lot of people are still like experiencing levels of quarantine, tell me about like the decision and how that experience was going out there.
Well, so first of all, we didn't get married yet. That was the engagement celebration you missed. So don't worry.
Okay.
You better be at the wedding. There's no excuse for the wedding. I'm going to come and drag you by your hair to get you there.
There we go.
He knows the moves too. Bro.
He's ready. He's like, yeah, that's not just hyperbole right there.
No, we sent out official invites. A lot of people thought it was actually the wedding, or that it might have been a surprise wedding, just disguised as an engagement party. But no, we wanted to do something to celebrate this moment, knowing that we probably won't have the wedding for probably a year or so. We want to be able to have our friends and family there and do it in a safe way. So we just had a smaller thing for the engagement party in my parents' backyard, and it was incredible.
I had the whole proposal plan, though, man. Like,
He's got to set the scene.
We were planning to go to England.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was going to have the ring and go to England and
We had a
propose.
tournament
Like,
there.
I had tea time set up for like this beautiful place. And I was going to
like
propose out there. And she always joked around. Like, she always said, you know, she's from New York, man. She's a New Yorker. So she's like, don't you propose to me on the Jersey Shore, whatever you do. Like, don't you propose. And I knew it. I was like, all right, check. Like, you know, it's never going to happen.
That's what he did.
And that's exactly what happened. I proposed to her on the beach in the Jersey Shore. And she
But
couldn't
no,
say
I mean,
anything.
it was that was like May 30th we got engaged, so we just come off like that big height of all the pandemic and the lockdowns.
And it was the day the rocket launched. So I
Yeah.
was like, all right, this is one thing to make it big. You know, like the rocket just launched.
No, but that just showed nothing mattered. When he asked, I didn't even care. I was like, I don't care where we are. Like, through all of it, I was so happy.
You knew what you needed, and you knew that was secure in that position.
And we had just moved into a new spot together. So, like, I wanted to go from this point on our relationship too, like, more serious. You know, I'm not like, hey, I'm just this guy that is trying to move in with you. Like, I'm serious. I'm committed to you.
Ah, that's beautiful. Well, I don't know if you knew, but Matt is an ordained minister. So, Matt, could you come in here, please? Bring inside.
Rogue wedding.
Yo, for
Yeah,
those,
you know,
off the string.
So for those of y'all taking notes on how to get the girl your dream. So first off, you get your feature film mate.
Yeah.
Then you have your family mate. When it's time to propose, wait till there's a rocket launching.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
And a
Make sure-
pandemic.
and
Make sure you get her a
pandemic.
crib by the beach first.
Yeah, this sounds like an action movie being made in some way, shape, or form. And, again, Anthony, I'm going to let you know, as a single guy out here, you're making it extremely hard for me to get started. But I do appreciate it because love, after all, will win the day, folks. This is what we got to come back into. I do just want Champion to celebrate that and go back into another aspect of the story that you guys are talking through. So we get in the engagement, families are coming together, everything is happening in this pressure cooker of uncertainty. Right. So there's a lot of things that are happening at least on our development. We've changed so many different courses and so many different cycles. Did the pandemic itself have any kind of impacts on some of the plans that you were making outside of, you know, what we were talking about for the engagement and things of that nature, you know, moving into a new place? There's a lot of things that had, you know, some questions in there. How did you guys find that resolve to kind of stay together and make sure that everything that you wanted to work towards was still happening?
Long story short, I was on a month-to-month in Brooklyn, so when everything kind of started getting really locked down, we went down to where we live now in Spring Lake. We went down there and stayed. His parents have a nice size house, so we were able to have our own rooms and bathroom areas. So it was a lot better than just being crammed with like a bunch of roommates in Brooklyn and only one bathroom, especially with like a lot of unknown with like the health stuff. Nobody knew anything in March, as you guys know. So 3 weeks into lockdown, his mom comes up to me and she's like, you know, we might be here for months, maybe even years. And I'm like, I look at Anthony, I'm like, okay, I think that means that we need to figure out like what's next. We're not just going to leave our stuff in Brooklyn for a month, for months and months and years. And so we went up to my parents have a second home up in like Sullivan County, New York, upstate. So only probably like 2.5 hours from here. And So we stayed there for 6 weeks while we really tried to like figure out together like what is the move. Like his family, they all live in Spring Lake. They're all really close. We weren't going to be able to go back and forth to see them as often. We weren't going to be able to stay with them really if things started opening up back up. And so we kind of just sat down. We were like, we'd been wanting to move into our own place together. We were thinking somewhere either in Manhattan or just somewhere in Brooklyn. But we was like, why don't we look in Spring Lake? And we could get, a lot more space. And really we just started kind of thinking about our lives and not putting it on pause, but just adapting to the times and not, like, I work from home. I've always worked from home. So, like, for us to really be locked in, like, I wasn't doing any trips. I wasn't able to go to co-working spaces during the day. So it was, like, a lot was changing where having space and being able to be outside, being able to be near friends and family was everything. So,
yeah,
like,
for
that made that decision, I guess, easy. So,
Yeah, like, these crises really put what's important into perspective,
Definitely. It seems like that you guys didn't lose the idea of dreaming. Seems like you did have something that was resonating inside there in terms of what that family unit and what those true friends did, ultimately mean at that point. So staying proxy to that is pretty cool. But in that dreaming atmosphere, you came up with some goals and some aspirations that I understand.
yeah.
Would you like to go into that a little bit and talk through?
Well, so
you should take it because you got a lot canceled on you. In the
Yeah,
beginning.
talk through that whole
I
process.
was just trying to kind of keep him like.
So
alive.
I have been, everything was set on this Olympic journey. Like, that was my eating, sleeping, and just breathing. And I remember when the pandemic happened, at first, I was even texting Corey, like, yo, I didn't work out today. I don't know what to do. I didn't work out today. Like, yo, I'm getting lazy. He's like, you're allowed to take a day off, son. Like, it's like, chill out. Like, you are a psychopath.
Text message.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it, yo. And it was like this big weight left off my shoulders. It was like, stop. Like, chill out for a second. Like, you don't have to go 100% with, like, 24/7. Like, you need that. Like, you need to relax. Like, it's okay to take a day off. Like, don't beat yourself up over it. Like, that's how my mind works. I'm such a perfectionist. I put so much time into stuff that I'm like, oh, well, these are like 6 hours I didn't put into it. So, like, I'm wasting time, or like, the other person's getting better or whatever. And I was like, well, there's no tournaments. The club's closed. Everything's. So I'm literally out in New York and Sullivan County at this cabin. It's on 2 acres, and I brought like a prison's gym setup. Like, I had my bar,
Love it.
like rusted old bar, and like these dumbbells. And I was texting Corey like, "Oh, what can I do to work out?" Like, cause I'm starting. Like, I was trying to be as creative as possible, and like, I was picking up heavy rocks, like doing squats and stuff, like whatever I could find. And at a point, I was like, okay, I'm working out, I'm getting stronger, but I'm not mentally growing through all this. So like, I need to start working on myself here now too, because I started finding myself, I'd work out and then just lay down because I'm like, all right, well, I did what I had to do. And there was no growth from that, and there was no tournaments to look forward to that I'm competing for. So I'm like, what do I do now? And, music is my passion. Like, I love music more than probably anything I've ever done. And just playing guitar and singing, it's like it puts you in this place where you just leave everything and like you get to create. It's like a whole nother world. And I remember sitting around especially once when we were in Sullivan County, I started doing some live streams, playing the guitar like with a cool backdrop to give some people some like positivity or whatever, like help them get out of their space for a minute. And it was getting some positive feedback. And then my uncle, when we moved to Spring Lake now, and I'm like, I see that restaurants are doing the outdoor dining, all this stuff, and I'm just like, I want to make a living doing music. Like, I said that to her. I was like, I was like really upset one day, and I was just like, I just want to play live music. Like, I just want to play for people. Like, I want to be playing gigs. And the next thing you know, my uncle's like, he owns an upholstery shop. I actually worked for him a little bit on the side, like doing deliveries for his upholstery company. And he owns a shop in the middle of town in Spring Lake. And he's like, just set up outside my shop. He's actually one of my inspirations for playing guitar as well. And he's like, he's my godfather. And he's like, just play outside my shop. There's traffic, people walk by. So I did. I said, she was working there one day a week to help him out. And I set up when she was there. I brought my guitar and stuff and started playing. Next thing you know, in like an hour, I had like $60 in tips. And I was like, wait, what? and then like people saying thank you, like people so happy, genuinely, because, you know, people haven't been getting like live music in a long time or anything, like really. And just getting such a positive reaction. The next day, I get a phone call from the restaurant across the street from where I was playing saying, you know, hey, can you come play here? I'll hire you to play 2 hours a weekend here. And that happened, started playing there every weekend, and then start getting reached out from people calling me from, you know, different bars and restaurants, hitting me up, like, after hearing about, you know, what I was doing, and people having such a positive reaction and all the feedback. And it was like just people hiring me left and right, and then private parties, and then all these different things. So to where my whole summer got booked up, and like I was a full-time working musician, making literally a full-time salary, like enough to pay all the bills and you know, be good. And it was like, this feeling was like, you know, whoa, like I just almost like I said it and then it happened, you know, like
spoke it into existence,
exactly.
my friend.
You put things out there and you'll get back if you put it out
you
there.
You worked really hard. You hired a voice coach. You literally getting guitar lessons every week. These are the things you're leaving out, but you're amazing. You know, you were practicing a lot. Some of the videos from the beginning of the summer compared to the end, like you focused on that and you've changed and improved on that even. So it's not like you're just.
It's just like when I get into something, you know, it's like wrestling, like judo, like all that stuff. It's like I get into something, I'm full in. Like you gotta like pull me out to stop me, basically.
Yo, are you still surprised? Because you have yet to do anything and not be just impressive with it. Like, are you still like, oh yeah, I guess I am.
I still think I suck, yo. Like I'm that type of person where in anything I do, I'm like, I know that there's so much more to achieve and there's so much higher you can go and be better. Like you can be that much better. It's like I think Matthew McConaughey says, he's like, every day I try to be better than I was yesterday, and it's like that's all we can do, right? You know, it's like. I don't know.
There's a big conversation to have there, right? So there is the pursuit of optimization, right? And making yourself in that refinery. Anthony, I hear it, and we said it on the show multiple times. How you do one thing is how you do everything, you know? And the person that is going to put time, energy, and effort into becoming the level of athlete you are is also going to be the person that's going to put time, energy, and effort into becoming the level of musician that you want to be. But there was a moment there that you said you felt the relief that came from when Corey sent you that message and told you that you didn't need to do that, right? Yeah. What I would like to enlighten is that you offer yourself that forgiveness. In addition to that work ethic, you will be able to live in your legend and not fall victim of your legend. I will say that is proof positive, my friend. The thing that I want you to take away from this conversation at some point, you can be that legend that I see right here. This man is telling you that he's doing his own Rocky montage and made the music for it. I don't know if everybody else heard it the way I saw it. You know, it's just kind of like, wait a second, hold on. He's doing the soundtrack and he's lifting the weights and moving that stuff. I love that.
One more thing slipped by. Did you say you were doing deliveries?
Yeah. On top of that.
Hey, yo, why you think I got this cut on my nose? Like I ran in head first into something, man. It's like
sewing machine.
Another thing being blind. It's like whatever, something's in my way. I just gotta break through it. It's like everything else in life, you know.
Yo, I'm gonna have to buy that bike now.
Yeah.
Yo,
we have one.
You're right.
We've been going in for like a minute. They've been going in on me about the fact that I haven't gotten on a bike because I'm scared. I'm like, yo, I haven't ridden a bicycle since I was a child. Once I got a license, I stopped riding bicycles, and now you got to ride in the streets. I was nervous. I can't really
listen. The
I'm
only
dead.
excuse
You
you
can't.
got.
What
choose
is
not
your
to.
excuse? I just want to
Yeah.
hear it. I want to hear it. Stupid it sounds.
I told you. I just said it. I'm scared.
I'm scared. Fear?
What part of I'm scared are you missing, man?
But what are you scared of?
Cars.
Yeah, go to Central Park.
Cars and inability and gravity.
Yes.
Those are very real things.
Two things that are way
I've-
stronger than me.
You know, it's funny you say it because I used to skateboard a lot when I was younger, and I just started getting back into it like a lot. And I've been going to the half pipe a bunch. I skate on the half pipe, and actually the other day I landed a 180 like air on it, and I was so pumped. But leading up to it, I remember when I was younger, I would fall and get right back up and not feel anything. But now I'm only 25, but like I'll fall and literally have a bruise on my leg from like a week ago that I'm still limping because it's like one fall. You're like, yo, that's not supposed to hurt. For
Anthony,
this
I hate to
long.
break this
Yo,
to you.
don't you ever in your life be humble with me again. Okay?
Yeah.
That was the flexiest humility
Yo,
I
I
ever
did
heard. in my
180
life.
on a half
Yo,
pipe.
you know,
He
when I
does
did a
that
180,
lot. Mhm.
damn.
180 on a half pipe. And then the other thing, falling past 25 only gets a little bit harder.
It only gets worse.
Wait till you holler at 40 and you wake up in something.
Chill
break.
with that.
It's a real situation.
Yo,
my
why you
friend.
hurt, man? I woke up too fast.
I sneezed yesterday, and it's still giving me some problems.
I pulled my back sneezing. It hasn't been the same
real.
since.
I farted in my rib cage.
You know, these things, the body starts to lie to you, Anthony. Is really what I'm trying
Yo,
to
I
tell you.
know. And you start to lie to your body too. You're like,
Yeah.
no, you're good.
I still got it. It's like, no, you don't. You did not earn that.
Yo, but just to compound how little this dude like gives himself credit for the things he does. We pulled up. We went to do some recovery before it was time for the Olympics. So he's on my table. I'm digging into his shoulders. We're working through, and a lot of you guys are going to understand what it's like to have a frozen shoulder. But essentially, his shoulder did not move. He couldn't reach behind his back. This is a man who's wrestling, doing judo,
And moving
doing
rocks.
all types of rolling, apparently also doing deliveries while doing a 180 on a half pipe.
He's got a lot of slashes. This guy.
A lot of things he's doing. So he gets his shoulder release. He pops through and he goes, first thing he says, oh man, I can move my shoulder. What did I do wrong?
It's like, I'm not used to this.
Yo,
This is a whole.
how come I couldn't do this before?
Yo,
Like,
I was like, I didn't know your body was supposed to move like that. I was like, I thought it was just
What
stuck.
did I do wrong?
All right, so we gotta get some R&R in this man's life, like on a higher frequency. Anthony.
we're working on it. We're working on it.
No, on a real note, you guys, I owe a lot to you guys to thank you about teaching me about recovery. She can protest to that.
I think you guys were the first people that ever asked him last time he was on what he does for recovery, and he was like, nothing. And
Corey was like, hold up,
Like, nope.
get over my gym.
No.
And I remember it was like an hour of tears later of being worked on by Corey. I was like, oh, I do need that in my life.
Here we go.
Yeah, we got done. We were both tired.
Yeah, yo, literally, he was like, yo, that was hard.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, you're just working on years of muscle that hasn't moved in the opposite direction. It was like, all right, we got to tenderize this thing.
Yo.
Like, just so you know, your fingers are supposed to spread apart.
Just ready. He's in a grapple position constantly. He's just ready. It's
Literally,
kung
it's
fu grip.
always ready.
He had the G.I. Joe Kung Fu
Yeah,
grip.
exactly. You're not getting out of that grip once you're in there, you know?
Hell no.
That's why he had to play the guitar. That's his hand was already holding.
Exactly.
It was perfect for it. It's easy transition.
Anthony, man, speaking of your mental growth, right? That was a very poignant thing that you said. I just wanted to bring back that and just harken back to that point. So in the midst of the pandemic, you are defined as an athlete your whole life, and now you have to redefine yourself and you fall into music. But what was that in between space like?
Well, that's the thing. So I guess I was very fortunate. I think it was the first year of us dating. I was supposed to go six hours away from flying out to go fight in the Pan American Championships in Canada. And we're in my basement, and I'm going to empty the dehumidifier bucket. And it's one of those Bilco doors, you know, the double heavy metal doors that you have to push up.
Mm-hmm.
And I go and push the door up. The door goes up. The piston that's supposed to slow it down from coming down snaps. The door, with momentum, shoots down onto my head. And I, like, fainted for a split second. Like, if this was anyone else in my family or anything, like, this would have been a broken neck. Like, it was very bad.
It's like a 50-pound door at least.
And it came with full momentum, and it's steel door. And I remember, first off, I didn't drop the dehumidifier bucket. I stayed
out to
on
that.
one knee. Yeah, no,
Like,
I
still caught
did
it.
not.
Held
I
on to
caught
it.
it, yo. And she came running over, and I just remember being like, I got a concussion, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, what happened, you know? And no one really comprehended what happened until later that night when I was able to, like, articulate. And that was such a bad concussion, man. And, like, that's when I was full force into my judo, like, the beginning, too, like, where your head's, you know, you're so all in, like, it's all you know at that moment. And it was all taken away from me like that, like, for weeks. And I had to figure something out. I was like, yo, I'm not just an athlete. Like, that's not my life. Like, that's not all that defines me. Like, there's more to this story. Like, you know, what happens if I break my legs tomorrow and I can't walk and I can't do judo? You know, it's like, I got to figure something else out. And that's when I start working on my story. And, like, you know, I've been doing this motivational speaking stuff since I was about a senior in high school. And this is when it, you know, I really got to kind of put a pause on life and be like, what is it that you want to do? Like, what is your goals? Like, and that's when I started realizing, like, I really want to help people. I want to do what I can to inspire others, to motivate people to get up and stop feeling sorry for themselves. And like, that's when you start to build and mentally grow as well. Cause you know, when that transition though with the pandemic, that was brutal because it was like, it was almost like that injury happening. Like it was like, I just broke both my legs and I'm not gonna be able to fight ever again. Like that's what that feeling felt like. And it's like a rock to your world. Like you go through all these different phases, man. Like it's like you're in denial, and then you're like, you start slacking, and then you start working out harder, just trying to like do whatever you can to like, you go through all these phases, then you finally accept it. It's like, all right, what do I need to do now? I need to not be in this rut and start mentally growing forward too. Like I've been working on the physical so long and just fighting. What about your brain? Like what about, you know, your life outside of fighting? Like what are you doing with that? And that's where that really came into play. And that's where this lady like is unbelievable. The teamwork that, you know, we do and the ideas she comes up with and that we run with and just start like having these conversations and stuff just sparks out of these talks. And we're the type of people who are like, all right, let's do it. You know, like it's no second guessing it. It's like, all right, we made the thought, and the thought's a plan. The plan is real. Let's go. And like so many people just make those plans and think about it their whole life and then never act on it. And it's like they're sitting when they're like 75 years old, like, oh man, you remember when I was 25 and I could have went there and done this? He's like, I should have done that. It's like, I'm not going to be that guy.
Yeah.
Like, because I learned at 20 years old, my brother got taken from me without any warning, with no, like, nothing, man. Like, the next day, you talk to him one day, the next day he's gone. And it's like, no warning. It's just ripped out from under you. And it's like, life's short, man. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. I was telling her the other day, I was like, I don't know if you're going to be here tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. We got to live in now and stop worrying about so far ahead and, like, start just being here now and, like, you know, living in now. Like, so easy to get wrapped up in the future and, like, what could be, or, like, if that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying?
It totally does.
Makes a lot of
Definitely. You know, you're talking about embracing the moment and embracing what's happening in the instant, and that is going to be informing how your philosophy that leads you to being able to accomplish all these things. And Kelly, I hear that you're coming about in that story and you're helping bridge the gap between that ideation and execution. Where does that come from in your perspective? Who informed that? How'd that become something that you had a affinity for?
So I guess I mentioned I was a business major and I've been working remote for the last like 8 years, and so I've seen a lot of, like, we're in services, we build custom software, and so I've seen how a lot of businesses start, fail, and just kind of, you know, throw things against the wall. And a lot of founders have talked to so many people that, you know, a founder's the same as everyone else. Like, the difference between them and you is that they've started to put a plan into action. And so really just, I meet Anthony. He only has a Facebook page. I'm like, what are you doing? You literally have all these amazing things that I'm sure people would want to follow.
So people would be at my film premieres all around the country, and they'd be like, how can I follow you and support your journey? And I'd be like, oh, you could type me in on Facebook.
Yeah, I only had to hear that like twice. And I was like, oh my gosh.
And this
so
girl
many
has such a business
opportunities.
mind where she's like, this is not professional. Like, what are you doing?
So the first thing we did was order him a business card that had Braille on it. Well, actually, we had someone do the design for that. We got a logo. We came up with sort of a short-term name. It was his initials and then Vision. And then I did a little Squarespace site. Got him just to kind of filter the traffic somewhere, to be able to link all of his different pages, to have a contact form on there. It's really just a landing page. It's still the same site. And then I'm like, all right, we're going to have all these things and we're going to start kind of putting it out there. And now it's finally all coming to.
She is the one that I didn't see this in myself almost. Like, I had all these outlets that I was doing, you know, sports, music, then the stuff, the speaking, the skateboarding and surfing that people love to see. It's like, man, I don't know, I'm not supposed to be doing this shit. You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, it's crazy. I'm like, you're crazy if you don't try this. Like, this shit's fun, you know? Like, and she saw this as, like, her business mind, you know, how after, like, seeing how everything went, it's like, this is you're a brand yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you need to brand yourself. Like, people love what you're doing and love your story. It's like, and for someone to have that support behind me and tell me that type of thing, it's like, I never believed that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Once I got a business card, I felt like the biggest boss in the world. I was like, yo,
Yes.
I got a website. Like, yo, go to my website.
The dude with the movie premiere is like, yo, I got a business card.
And you even saw the confidence when he would talk to people, just having
Yeah.
that card, and it opened so many doors. And I'm just like, wow, like, oh my gosh.
It's huge. It's a huge thing. I'm seeing a couple of different things happen, and I want to open this back up to my fellas over here, but I just want to make sure we add some punctuation inside there. So it is a brand and brand development and what startup culture is, I'm hearing, taking shape over there, because a lot of people who are in that ideation position are so keyed in on the creative aspect. And Anthony, you got like 9 different outlets that we talked about in the creative process. But often what keeps that idea from execution is having the team and support that will help you get from point A to point B and then have all of the rest of those impacts tied together. So I see a brand of transcendence, a brand of inspiration, a brand of motivation, right? All coming to a confluence that is in now what we're displaying across all of these different forms of media, forms of execution, forms of all those things. So I just want to commend and say champion this union right here, because it is a strong dynamic duo.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot, man.
Thank you.
It's beautiful, beautiful.
Real. Yo, all the listeners that are paying attention to my guy over here who's extra winning. Extra winning in all aspects is when you're a creative and you're one of those people who knows they can go out and do most things and you end up being successful as most things, you need someone in your team who can help you execute. You need an operational person, someone who's business minded, someone who can direct your focus. Because a lot of times creative people, I know I happen to be one of those people, you will be in 99 different directions.
Oh,
someone
yeah.
has to steer you.
That's right. You gotta keep him on track. Like, you'll start saying like, "Yo, how about this and this and this?" And it's like, "No, yo, you got this great thing. Like,
We can make this work, but
you gotta
here's what it's gonna be.
just stay with me for a minute." Like,
You need someone to drag your arm and be like, no.
exactly. It's like we don't have ADD, but we do in that sense. Like, it's like
Absolutely.
I can't stay still. Like, I want to do it all.
Yeah, and how does that ideation come, again, together where we start talking through, okay, both of you now in the space where you're in that creative atmosphere, right? And we're both in a direction where you're in the house, you're thinking about what's next, what's coming down. Well, we can't do the tournaments like you were doing before. You are starting to get a little bit more outdoor practice and playing. Where does that next evolution take place? And what started to happen, and what are you excited about, and what can we share in that pathway?
So what started to happen was, this music buzz and just finding that this is really a passion of mine, like diving even deeper, like, working on my voice, getting these lessons and actually attacking things I've been scared for years to address. Like, so to get better, you got to work on the things you don't want to some of the times. And started doing this, and we're travelers. Like, we don't like to stay in one place too long. And we were traveling all the time for my tournaments, and she works remote, so she would come. I'd fight in my tournament in whatever country we were in, and then for the next week or two, we'd go travel around this country and go learn all about the culture, the environment, the people, everything. It's like, it's basically I didn't finish college fully, so it's like my courses, like I learned about the world through this way, and we wanted to just travel. We're like sitting at home, it's. Go through the summer, it's all right because we got the beach and I'm surfing all the time, take your mind off it. And finally we're like, her sister is over in California, Northern California, like I mentioned, with my best friend, and they're about to have a child together and they're getting married as well. And Kelly wants to see her sister for Thanksgiving, and so we're like, all right, let's make that happen. And with the flying being all weird and stuff, we're like, let's drive. And she's like, what, am I just going to drive you across the country? And like,
Obviously, I'm the only one who can drive because we don't have our Tesla yet. But,
yeah, Kelly, I'm happy that you cleared that up for us.
So except in the Salt Flats, I'm gonna take him out
more
to
tips with
Utah.
Kyle.
We're gonna have some serious GoProing of him driving in the Salt Flats because it's just miles and miles, and you
Open
can just
space.
go.
I got you.
But no, so I'll be driving, but obviously I'm going to have to stop a lot. I have to balance work. I have to balance like sanity. And, so I'm like, we're going to be stopping all the time. We're going to be doing such short drives. Like, I feel like the only way that this makes sense is to go very, very slow. And then I start putting it on a calendar. I'm like, this is going to take like 2 months to go there and back if we do this. And so I'm like brainstorming in my head. This doesn't make any sense. He's going to take off all these gigs for 2 months.
Business mind working right there. Like, oh, he's going to be missing work.
Or just purpose, really.
Exactly.
It's just not just about money. It's like, because I'll have the money and we have money saved. But so what are we going to do that's going to be more than just how do we raise awareness? Like, we've been doing a lot of the live streaming, and that was really fun. So I was like, what if we just set up like a live stream tour, and in all these different places that we stopped, we videoed you playing music, had the same type of setup that you've been, carrying around all your places all summer. And what if we did it with like the Redwood Forest in the background, or like the Blue Ridge like Parkway off of Western Virginia, and like the Rocky Mountains, and like you're really
Stevie
secluded.
Ray Vaughan in Austin,
like we're
Texas.
going to all these places, we're traveling, but we're really alone, and we're live streaming, sharing it with hundreds of people still, and giving them different backgrounds. Filming our story, we kind of bought a GoPro, and we're like, all right, we're going in. We're going to like get a lot of footage, and we're just going to kind of collect content, really feed our souls during this time. I'd been writing a lot my whole life, really, but the start of the pandemic, I starting to write more publicly.
Yeah.
So when we started to put the plan together, I'm like thinking about my next blog post. I'm like, what should I write about? And I'm like, all right, I'm going to write about us planning this trip. It'll be like planning in public. All the weird business people that want to know how you do things can read that. And then all the people that care about Anthony can like see what we're doing. So it's kind of like a synergy there. And I just start writing this whole like long piece out about our plan, how we're going to execute it, taking pictures of all the different things that I had already put together to put the plan into action. So I'm start writing this piece and adding pictures and links. I'm like, wow, this is huge. This is so big. I get ready to like publish it. And I like go to start breathing deep, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like so overwhelmed, like kind of almost have like this like feeling to like I wanted to cry. And I'm like, and Anthony's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I just feel like this is such a monumental moment. I'm going to publish this. Everyone's going to know what we're going to do. It's going to be real. It's like, anyone can write a plan, but like we're going to really be held to this. And I was just feeling like, we're really going to do this? And it also made sense. It was amazing, like the way that it all flowed. And I'm just like, I was very proud of how I was able to kind of share my thought process on paper. So yeah. I was kind of proud of that piece too. So I'm like ready to publish it. And we go, and because I had a written piece, he has a link to send to everyone. And it started to create this buzz. And it was like, this is like, I guess 8 days ago that I actually clicked publish, and he's like sending it to everyone, and everyone's just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I can't believe you guys are doing this. Like, that sounds so cool. And it's really just creating this buzz. I'm like, this is really what I was like asking, or almost even praying for. Like if this is something we should be doing, like open the doors, like let the path happen. Like, I don't want to just come up with a plan and then really be forcing every single thing. Like really like, oh, I planned a 10-hour drive, and we have to get 10 hours into the next stop, or we won't hit our tour date. Like, we're not putting dates on the tour. We're just putting locations. Yeah. So if we go to a spot and we want to stream from there, then we're going to do it.
Sounds like there's a marriage of both of these worlds coming together in some way, shape, or form.
Exactly what we're seeing happen.
You see that? I like this. I like what's coming down in this position.
Very analytical over there, Tony.
Yeah, I'm just appreciating what you're putting down, because it's a beautiful situation.
I love that you see that too, because that's exactly what we started to see once she put this together. It's like her love for writing and my love for music, or our journey together, and whatever it may be, her writing it out, and being able to put that love into our story, and almost being told like a love story, what we go out through doing through our life, to especially in this time right now. You see so much drama and so much negativity being posted and just spewed everywhere, people not getting along, arguing about everything, and it's really bringing out a lot of nasty things. And my goal right now, our goal really is, we just want to spread positivity. We want to put a lot of love and positive energy on people's, feeds, like all over. I want to stop seeing all this garbage and hate, and I want to start seeing music and love, and like start spreading positivity, bring people together through it. I want to see people like reaching out, like, yo, I see that you're gonna be here. Let's maybe do a stream together. I play this
jam
instrument.
Session.
You know what I'm saying? And like you start bringing, it's like. And then you start it just creates this whole snowball effect. That's what I'm hoping for. And even if it doesn't with this, it's like it's not gonna stop. Like, we're not gonna stop doing it. So it's like it's just gonna keep growing.
Yeah, you've had a lot of blind people even reach out though since it's been buzzing around. Like, I think there's the blind skater that wanted to meet up with you in LA, and there's a blind girl who's a singer and asked to do a Zoom duet with you on her channel. And you're inspiring, not just, you're inspiring everybody in your community too. So.
And I say, Kelly, you take some of that inspiration too, because I hear the creative direction coming out over on this side. We're tapping into some instruments on your way as well. So just to reflect that positively in there.
When I read her blog post for this, I was like, she's an unbelievable writer. I was like, I can't believe you've been like hiding this from everyone.
I'm telling him he needs to write. I'm like, you should write more. You should write more.
Like, no, I freestyle.
And now I just realized, like, I just us being engaged. It took things like, oh, this isn't just my boyfriend. I can write about him. This is my partner. This is like someone I'm gonna marry. I'm gonna like have in my life. Like, I can intertwine our lives now. I can like also like invest in him too and myself, and not just like giving everything to him. So
yeah, you're sharing that light that you see, right? And that is that's resonant in your instrument in some way, shape, or form. I like how this whole situation is coming together. I need to know where the links are so we can make sure that we keep along inside there. And if selfishly, I got some requests that comes in there because I know there's going to be a soundtrack that's coming out. So I just got automatically, I got to ask when that soundtrack is ready that you please do share it this way.
Absolutely. So we're going to be doing, first of all, you can go to my website, which is the asfvision.com. And it links out to like my Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. And what we're going to be doing is, stories are going to be put up on Instagram throughout, like periodically, of what's going on, what we're doing. Facebook's going to be the live streams of each show. And then the next day or sometime after each premiere on Facebook, we're going to do a premiere on YouTube of like a little mashup, 10 seconds possibly before the video, like of us in that city. And then do like, the premiere on YouTube, so other people that missed it on Facebook can kind of see it, like, and we'll be interacting on the premiere on YouTube, so it's like another experience for people if they missed it at one point.
And also to have an actual like trail of this, not just, we did a bunch of live streams and they got lost in Facebook feed. It's like, I want you to be able to see his 2020 live stream tour, 5-10 years from now, and just look at how far he's come.
It's official. We got the poster made up. We got. We're gonna have the t-shirts probably at the end. We're gonna do it all.
Listen, I hear the universe conspiring to make this as big as it needs to be.
Yeah.
Right. In a realistic way, I already know the successes started in the initial inception of this conversation, and that success was solidified just by your union coming forward. Everything else is just cherry on top of this sundae coming down here. And the more you get to share that with people, the more they're going to be inspired, the more they're going to be motivated, and the more they're going to get out of their own way in this similar kind of light that you've been, forecasting through this whole story. So I just want to say thank you for even putting that into the ether, because I know how I feel about hitting this road after hearing all of this stuff. Fellas, what's some of y'all thoughts on this side?
Well, besides the fact that my fear has now turned to embarrassment about not getting this bike, I think the most important thing that you guys have both said is the love. We are going through some wild times right now, and everybody seems to be searching for a solution to get back to some level of normal or feel some kind of good. And we keep passing over the most obvious thing, which is simply love. Love can be contagious, it can be expansive, and it can become its own pandemic if you choose to allow it.
And it can conquer all, man.
It most definitely can. It most definitely can. And I think that aspect of your story is just as important as all the other wildly impressive things that you do all the time, is finding someone who you can love, who loves you back, and not being afraid to go ahead and do it is huge.
I want to impart two things for you leave on this journey, right? First thing, Brother Tony told me this a while ago. He said, if your everyday norm is extraordinary to other people, then that's something that you need to capture, right? So your everyday norm, as we know, is crazy extraordinary. So that's something that needs to share with other people. Second thing would be that you have this wonderful balance between the two of you, so whether he's motivating you to reach new heights and you're motivating him to be better business-wise, like that balance is always going to be there and keep you balanced. So make sure you maintain that going forward. But we are wrapping the show. So before you go forward, what could you tell our listeners to put their best foot forward off the strength?
Well, first of all, real quick, what Corey was saying about love is like, it doesn't have to be your life partner, man. It could be your neighbor, your the person down the street, the person you see at the grocery store. Just show them love. Like, just don't have this chip on your shoulder. Not everyone is out to get you. Like, people are, you don't know what everyone's going through at this time, and like, you don't know what you can learn from the person next to you. So please just try to treat everyone with love and like respect. So that especially, and like Tony said, my life motto is the only disability is a bad attitude. So whenever you're sitting home feeling sorry for yourself, I'd love for you to write out that excuse of what it is keeping you from doing what you're doing, and read how stupid you sound and just get up and do it. And please follow this girl's blog. It's turmericteatime.com.
I linked it on your website. So
it's on my website
take your
as
fame
well.
I love it. Yeah, that's a power move right there, Kelly.
She makes all the power moves.
Yeah. So, no. And I think I would just add to being present, enjoying the journey, and being flexible along the way, because, of course, we have a plan. But I think my biggest anxiety going into this is knowing that nothing will go according to our plan. So just like, how am I going to be able to adapt that and just enjoy what we're doing?
But it's like Kyle, you're saying that we have that balance, because it's like she's like all plan. I'm like, come on, yo, let's just go and do it. Like, so it's this perfect like meet in the middle type thing.
Go with the flow, but have a plan.
Exactly.
Let's go, but let me write this down.
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful.
No, I love you guys, and thank you so much for having us. Seriously.
We love you too, and we're gonna champion. Listen, I don't know if you know, but I can hit some baritone notes for you if you need to
you
get.
Better get on there.
We going down in the Delta somewhere. You need a live stream, some backup.
You already know we are going to the
just
Delta.
let me know. Just let me know.
I could ding a mean symbol.
I thought you played the electric triangle over there, Corey. Corey plays the tuba.
Yo, I'll get that tuba down. You ready?
We can make something happen. And however we can support this mission is really what I want to get to. If it's not on the vocal side, please, on the amplification side, on the outreach, or anything in that direction, please do not hesitate to keep us informed so that we can keep everybody else out there informed. And seriously, the craziness that is in this training space is we got a network of people that are all over in some of these spaces. If you're looking for something along there that you can't find on your own fruition, please do tap out, and we'll make sure that our resources are your resources going forward.
You guys are the best, and appreciate that.
And my brother, I love you.
Love you too.
Kelly, love you.
Love you guys. Thank you.
Thank y'all so much.
Yeah.
So much love. It's been another fantastic episode of Off the Strength. I'm a trainer called Tony.
K.R. Jones.
Your trainer, Corey.
Peace and much love to everybody out there.